Good morning, students. Our next topic in this chapter is compounds. A compound is a substance made up of two or more elements chemically combined together in a fixed ratio. Here you can see four compounds: water, ammonia, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen peroxide. You can see that there are different elements in one compound, but they are combined in a fixed ratio. Now, what are the characteristics of compounds? The first characteristic is compounds are made up of two or more elements. For example, water. Now, water is made up of the elements hydrogen and oxygen, where you have two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen, and sodium hydroxide. Now this is made up of elements sodium, oxygen and hydrogen. The second characteristic is the elements combine together in a fixed ratio. For example, water again. The two elements hydrogen and oxygen are chemically combined together in a fixed ratio of two atoms of hydrogen to one atom of oxygen. Next characteristic is a compound is always homogeneous. That is, all samples of a compound are identical in composition and have the same properties throughout. Now again we have the example of water. The properties of a drop of water are the same as the properties of a glass of water. Next we have the properties of a compound are different from its constituents. This is the fourth characteristic. For example, the element hydrogen, it can burn, and the element oxygen that helps in burning. However, the compound water formed from hydrogen and oxygen neither burns nor helps in burning. Here, hydrogen and oxygen are gases, but the compound water is a liquid. Now, another example is sodium chloride. Sodium is a poisonous metal and chlorine is a poisonous gas. But when sodium and chlorine combine, sodium chloride is formed, which is common salt, and it is used to add taste to our food. Compound sodium chloride is not poisonous at all. Now the next characteristic is it is not possible to separate the constituents of a compound by physical means. Now we have water again. Water cannot be separated into its constituents, that is hydrogen and oxygen, by any physical means like boiling or filtration. It can be only done by passing electric current through acidified water during a process called electrolysis of water. The sixth characteristic or the last characteristic here is that when a compound is formed, energy is usually given off or absorbed. An exothermic reaction can take place where energy is released, or an endothermic reaction can take place when the energy is absorbed. Now, when hydrogen and oxygen combine chemically to form water, energy is produced, rather enormous energy is produced in the form of heat and light. This is burning of hydrogen in air, or a combination of hydrogen and oxygen. Now there are some common compounds. Here is the list. The first one is water. It is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. The next one is carbon dioxide. carbon and oxygen. Then common salt or sodium chloride, which has sodium and chlorine. The next is ammonia. Ammonia is made up of nitrogen and hydrogen. And the last one given here is sodium hydroxide, which has sodium, oxygen and hydrogen. Now children, what are the elements and compounds made up of? What are the actual components of elements and compounds? So children, elements and compounds are made up of atoms. However, a molecule is the smallest particle of matter that can exist independently, and an atom may or may not exist independently. We will learn about atoms and molecules in detail in the next lecture. Thank you.